question. Thank you. And yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you each of these things you asked and then kind of a way to think of it all as the same thing. And I'll apply that to the question that's asked down here. So for that first one, well, actually, before I even do that, I just wrote out some problems that are exactly what you said here, but with some solid numbers so we can get them set up and solve them. So something that's common to what we both wrote is the what, the is, and the of. And so once you kind of break the code on that, that helps a bunch. So what is going to be x? It's the thing we don't know. It's what we're solving for. Is, that's going to be equals. Whenever you see that is in a story problem, at least of this nature, equals. And then of, that is going to be multiplication every time there's an of. So without even thinking too hard about this, let's see if we can kind of use this to break the code on these sentences. And then again, when I get down here, I'm going to wrap all that up as kind of the same thing. But just to break the code first, so what number, oh, and one other thing I should say is as we're doing percentages, remember all percentages we would change to decimal by moving the decimal place 2 places to the left to actually do math with it. Okay, so with that, what number, okay, what is x? Is, that is equals 25%. Okay, so we do our 0.25. Of is times, I'm going to use a parenthesis for that because we use x as a variable for algebra, and then 60. Boom, and there it is. So x equals 0.25 times 60, and you should find if you toss that into a calculator, it would be 15. So that's that one. This next one, what percent, so what x of, that's our multiplication again, 20, is our equals, and then 2. So then to solve that, since this 20 is multiplying the x, I would have to divide both sides. And now that would cancel out, and I'll just sneak over here with it. So then that would be x equals 2 divided by 20. If you put that into a calculator, you get 0.1 or 0.10. And I'm putting that 0 there so that because this asks for what percent, so right now we're in decimal form, so then I would move that decimal 2 places, and then that would mean x is 10%, which makes sense. If we think what percent is $2 of $20, yeah, that'd be like 10%. For this next one, 24 is, so that's equals 30%, change it to decimal, of, that's our times, what number? I didn't really need those parentheses, but I drew them anyhow. So now to get that x by itself, we would divide both sides by 0.30. That cancels. And then again, if you throw that in a calculator, I think you should get x equals, I think it was 80. 8 times, yeah, that would make sense, 80. So in terms of just the words, like without even really knowing what you're doing, you can just do what is and of, and then that helps you translate all of those right into a mathematical equation. With that though, let me pop over to this actual problem of what we're trying to solve. And this may get more to your question as to like, once you throw a bunch of other words in there, like defective parts and shipments of airplane stuff, it starts getting harder to tell which one of these 3 things you're working on. So here, in a shipment of airplane parts, 3% are known to be defective if 9 parts are defective. So that 9 goes with the 3%. How many parts are in the shipment? What is the whole? So for all of these problems up here, what I was doing is percent times the whole equals the part. And this is good for percents that are less than 100%, right? Because if it's bigger than 100%, you're going to get more out than you started with. When we're working with them that are less than 100%, like in this case, this is a nice little way to think of it. So percent times all of it, the whole amount, is going to equal the partial amount. So let's try that now. move things around here with relative to this. So here we do 3% was our percentage, and 9 is going to be the part, and we're trying to figure out the whole. So 3%, we'll do right here, 0.03, because of 3%, I'm moving my decimal twice, times the amount I don't know, the whole, would equal the 9 parts. And so if you see, they're all the same percent times whole equals part. Here, percent times whole equals part. Percent times whole equals part. So it really is all this, just kind of worded differently, and each time you're solving for a different piece of it. And then from here, you would just divide this over, and then whatever that comes out to be. Cool. Hopefully that's helpful. Let me know if you have other questions.